What's up, folks? I'm Chris, your NFL writer here at Occupy Fantasy, here with a look at some top plays for tonight's 4 and 5 game slates in preseason NFL DFS action on FanDuel and DraftKings. We have 4 games kicking off on the DraftKings slate starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 5 games on the FanDuel main slate. They have included the 6 p.m. Atlanta Falcons and Detroit Lions game. Now that means we have 8 to 10 teams that we have to select from for players tonight. And the biggest thing that we need to do is focus on the teams that we can highlight the most playing time upside at every single position based on what we're able to uncover from team beat reporters who are doing great work this offseason, covering training camps and letting us know who is getting a lot of reps in preparation for these preseason games. As you see on the screen, our favorite quarterback today is Jordan Love of the Green Bay Packers. This is their former first-round pick from a couple years ago, who has only played in one preseason thus far, and he got one start last year in a game against Kansas City Chiefs when Aaron Rodgers was unable to play, and he was not super impressive in that game, but he'll have a real chance to thrive tonight playing against some of the backups for the San Francisco 49ers. He'll probably get an entire half, play the entire first half for the Green Bay Packers. We know this because this is exactly what Green Bay did last year. Looking at their quarterback usage in preseason week 1 under head coach Matt LaFleur, Jordan Love played 52% of snaps. Aaron Rodgers did not play. Kurt Benkert played the second half, 48% of snaps. We know that Aaron Rodgers is not going to play again tonight. We know that Green Bay second string players will probably get the entire first half. Green Bay third string players will probably get the entire second half. Looking at the wide receiver usage for Green Bay last year, there were 3 or 4 receivers who played basically half the game. Looking back at their depth chart for 2021's preseason week 1, Malik Taylor and Amari Rodgers were both in the second string with Jordan Love. That means tonight, looking at Green Bay's depth chart, we should expect camp standout Romeo Doubs and Juwan Winfrey to get a ton of playing time for them, as well as Amari Rodgers, who is still in the second unit for Green Bay. So looking at Green Bay wide receivers, if you are playing Jordan Love tonight, I do think that you want to focus on Doubs as probably the best player to pair with him in this group. But we also have Juwan Winfrey, who's been on this team for a little while, knows the system, so to speak, could be a good play with Jordan Love. And then Amari Rodgers will probably work a little bit out of the slot for them. He'll be another option to pair with Love. Now, in the second half for Green Bay, they only have 2 quarterbacks available. Danny Etling will get some run for them this evening. Danny Etling has played in 2 previous preseasons with both the New England Patriots and the Atlanta Falcons. Danny Etling has 371 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions as a passer across 6 total preseason games in that span. But what's really impressive with Etling is he has 27 rush attempts, 235 rushing yards, and a rushing touchdown in those 6 games on aggregate. So this is a quarterback that has rushing upside, and as we saw with Malik Willis last night, that's very important in preseason DFS, really important in all NFL DFS, but Etling should have an opportunity to make some plays with his legs, and that may actually give him an opportunity to climb to the top of the position scoring leaderboard tonight if he plays very well in his half of action for Green Bay. So I think Etling is a pretty good high-risk play this evening. We are focusing on teams that have a concentrated level of opportunity. Green Bay is one of the better examples on this slate at the quarterback position. Just 2 guys are expected to play. Another team that only has 2 quarterbacks expected to play that we're interested in, the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray won't play. Colt McCoy is injured, so he won't play. It leaves just Trace McSorley and Jarrett Guarantano to finish or play this entire game for the Arizona Cardinals against the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals also only have 2 quarterbacks expected to play. Joe Burrow recovering from an appendectomy, so he's out. Brandon Allen, who has started for them in the past, will start this game, get the first half, according to head coach Zach Taylor. Jake Browning, who we've seen in preseasons before with the Minnesota Vikings, will get the second half. There's no mention of Drew Plitt here getting any playing time, so we're not concerned with him. For our purposes, we actually think Trace McSorley with Arizona is the next best play behind Jordan Love and Danny Etling for DFS contests tonight out of these teams that we only have 2 quarterbacks expected to play. Trace McSorley has played with the Baltimore Ravens in the past in preseason games. 619 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions across 5 different games. Little bit of rushing work. He's got 15 rush attempts, 72 rushing yards, and a rushing touchdown in his work with Baltimore in prior preseasons. So a little bit of that dual threat optionality here with Trace McSorley as well in DFS this evening. Arizona did us a favor. Arizona published a depth chart specifically for this preseason game, which we love. When they published this, they thought Colt McCoy may play. The team media, he has since been ruled out, so ignore the highlighted sentence I have here. Maybe tough to see here on the screen, but Trace McSorley, the second unit quarterback here, will play with the first unit, which is Andy Isabella, Greg Dortch, and Andre Baccellia at wide receiver here. So those are the three wide receivers that I would pair with Trace McSorley. When Jarrett Guarantano gets in the game, he will get some time with Birmingham Stallion USFL standout wide receiver Victor Bolden Jr. He will also play with Jontre Kirkland, Javonta Payton, and Marcel Aitman. Maybe a little bit of Antoine Wesley, but I suspect he's actually a starter for the Arizona Cardinals this year, so not expecting a ton out of Antoine Wesley. Now, there's one other quarterback that I do think will get extensive run in preseason action this evening, only available on FanDuel over here on their main slate. It is Desmond Ritter of the Atlanta Falcons. They have three quarterbacks on the roster. Marcus Mariota is the presumptive starter, and the starters are going to play a little bit tonight. Desmond Ritter, draft pick, he's their backup. He should play extensively. Felipe Franks, who's their third-string quarterback, has actually been working mostly as a tight end in camp, so he's not much of a factor at quarterback this evening. In fact, coach has been quoted as saying that basically 80% of his time is at tight end. So I think he's just a quarterback in emergency situations, and I think there's a really good chance that once Marcus Mariota is out of this game for the Falcons tonight, Desmond Ritter plays maybe the rest of the entire game for the Falcons. So that's just something to consider for you FanDuel-only players. Now, at the running back position this evening, we want to focus on concentrated opportunity. Last night, that led everybody to play two New England running backs pretty heavily. It had mixed results. It wasn't the best outcome from a fantasy point perspective, so maybe people will be afraid to do this on a 4-game slate tonight, but there's one team where there are really only two guys that are expected to handle the majority of the opportunities at running back this evening, and it is the Philadelphia Eagles. Kenny Gainwell and Boston Scott have both been injured and are missing practices, so they are not expected to play tonight. Miles Sanders will be done when Jalen Hurts and the rest of the starters are done. They're expected to get 1, maybe 2 series from Nick Sirianni tonight against the New York Jets. That leaves Jason Huntley and rookie Kennedy Brooks to get the entire game once Sanders is out for the Philadelphia Eagles. And looking at Bo Wolf, who covers the Eagles for theathletic.com, he does believe that this figures to be a heavy workload night for Jason Huntley, and the second half might belong entirely to Kennedy Brooks. So I don't see any problem this evening, especially in low-risk contests, starting with Jason Huntley and Kennedy Brooks as the two best raw plays at the running back position out of all these teams that are available. They both have upside of the most touches on this slate, roughly playing a half each. So I think that makes a ton of sense here. The San Francisco 49ers are playing Green Bay, and they have an old friend at tight end that should get a lot of work tonight. It is receiving tight end Tanner Hudson. This is a San Francisco 49ers team that is nursing several injuries at the tight end position, and one beat writer characterized this group at backup behind Kittle as basically a battle between Tyler Kroft and Tanner Hudson. Now, Tyler Kroft is valued for more of his blocking upside. Tanner Hudson has the better receiving chops in this tight end room. So I do think Tanner Hudson, going back to his days with the Bucs, was a popular preseason play. I think he'll be another popular play at the tight end position tonight due to his receiving upside with the San Francisco 49ers. Probably will play more with the Sudfeld and Brock Purdy groups at quarterback. The 49ers do have 4 quarterbacks. Trey Lance will start. Jimmy Garoppolo is not playing for them right now. Sudfeld and Purdy will probably clean up once Lance is done. But at this tight end position, Kittle's probably not going to play very long tonight. Charlie Warner out. Jordan Matthews out for the year. Not expecting much from anyone other than Tyler Kroft and Tanner Hudson based off of what beat reporters have told us. So Tanner Hudson looking like a great play at tight end. These are just a handful of the top plays that we are considering this Friday. Preseason DFS is a very news-driven game, so we're constantly analyzing any new news that we can get from team beat reporters throughout the afternoon because it totally will shift how we're going to attack the slate come lock time. I do think these are some of the guys that we all have as the best plays on this slate. Just to recap for you, Tanner Hudson, our favorite tight end. Jordan Love, our favorite quarterback, although Danny Etling does have some upside rushing as the backup with Green Bay. A couple of other teams playing 2 quarterbacks I discussed that you should be considering. Jordan Love, I would pair someone like Romeo Doubs with him if I was playing him at quarterback. And then at the running back position, I do believe that both of these backup Eagles running backs, Jason Huntley and Kennedy Brooks, are going to be 2 of the most popular plays on this slate, so you probably should just play them in your low-risk contests and maybe even in your high-risk contests this evening. Keep an eye out for the daily plug that we post at OccupyFantasy.com. We will have notes, top plays for all 5 games on this slate this evening available for you. That will be posted by about 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at the absolute latest, and then we will have live updates based off of anything that we can learn from beat reporters in warm-ups for each of these games. Good luck tonight, and we'll be back tomorrow for more talk about NFL DFS.